It's April 19, 2022. Welcome to the midday news here on Metro TV. It's Newsbeat live from the KWARU studio at North Ridge. We're also streaming live on Facebook is Metro TV Ghana. Instagram and Twitter is Metro TV_GH. You can follow us there, and also you can follow me on ANALYST, my page on Facebook. On Twitter is AAA_Gray. Let's take a look at the headlines into details. Police in the Eastern Region asks residents at PAMPASO in the Nsomadredri municipality to remain calm as it investigates the demolition of several houses. More reactions pour in after the Economics Intelligence Unit's analysis of former President Mahama's chances of 2024 elections. We will engage some of the officials working closely with him on this development. And more politics, New Patriotic Party opens nominations for interested members to pick up forms to contest for executive positions at the constituency level. Details of these and more stories coming up shortly. You can also watch the news on channel 277 DSTV. I am Annie Fuampofo. Now the stories in detail. Police in the Eastern Region are on a manhunt for one Kofi Akwa, who is alleged to have led an illegal demolition exercise at PAMPASO number 1, a community near Tichamante on the main Accra-Kumasi highway. Several houses were pulled down, rendering many people homeless. Now, the police has also asked residents to remain calm while they investigate the incident.
According to the residents at PAMPASO at Nsawam Adwejiri in the Eastern Region, at about 1 a.m., excavators started pulling down their houses without prior notice. Some residents narrate that the land guards came in with guns and were fully masked to carry out the demolition. This has rendered many people homeless.
Around 1 a.m. midnight, I heard my brother calling my name. When I came out, I saw men with guns asking us to go out. We could not even take our things, so I had to dress by the road. I tried calling someone, but he threatened to kill me. We are pleading with the government to help us.
They started demolishing our houses when they took the fuse out of the meter. We thought it was a general light out. Their faces were covered. We were not allowed to take anything.
My baby was crying at midnight, so I woke up to get her some food. That is when I heard noise, so my sister decided to step out and check what was happening, only to realize there was light out. That is when we saw the land guards with sticks and guns. My sister tried to turn on a torchlight, but he threatened to hit her with a stick. He told us not to take anything from the room or call anybody.
The Eastern Regional Police Command says it has taken command over the situation and has started investigations. It is asking residents to stay calm while they bring the perpetrators to book.
Now, a legal team member of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Godwin Edugitamaklo, has called for a special audit into Ghana's COVID-19 expenditure, even though it was kicked against by the majority in Parliament.
If you are using COVID as the excuse for the purposes of relaxing certain critical financial prudence legislation, then it is only fair that within that same spirit, you allow for a probe in how you expended this money that came as a result of COVID. Look, you recall that the finance minister and government went back to Parliament and said, look, COVID has come, we do not have money, and so relax the law for us in order to access the stabilization fund. You recall that. And that alone allowed government of Ghana to access over $250 million. That translated into 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. That 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, we are told that government of Ghana decided to use part of that amount to do feeding of Ghanaians for 21 days. Government of Ghana tells us that they used 54 million Ghana cedis for 21 days for hot meals and food that were distributed. It is only fair that these are special monies that were released to you. And so what is wrong? A Parliament of Ghana that allowed you to access this amount of money requires of you a conversation about how and where and what you spend the money on. There's nothing wrong.
Well, lawyer Digita Makro spoke on the Good Morning Ghana platform. On the same platform, Member of Parliament for the Botiano English Amanfo constituency, Sylvester Tete, says COVID-19 expenditure does not need any special audit aside the ones conducted by the Auditor General, stressing there's no cause for alarm and mere allegations of misappropriation of COVID-19 funds.
If the Auditor General himself does not find anything untoward or say that we want to do special audit, I mean, I don't see why it should start from, say, get a bipartisan parliamentary investigation team to investigate it and do what? Because now when you do that and you bring the findings, what are you going to do? The Auditor General will bring it to Parliament. The Speaker's Committee on Public Accounts will have opportunity to scrutinize even the work done by the Auditor General. So people should be calm. For me, I'll call for calm. Look, allegations upon allegations. Randy, if you are not careful and we want to run this country on the basis of allegation, we'll weaken our institutions and it will end up costing us so much money. Such investigations don't come easily. It's expensive. In the midst of all these allegations, let's follow through. The Auditor General, as we sit here, the mischief or the numbers can be corrected by just a simple question to the Minister of Finance on the floor of the House. It doesn't need special investigation to arrive at these numbers. Mr. Minister of Finance, this is what you said. This is what the President said. What is the clarity? It's a simple question by any member of Parliament to the Minister of Finance. And the Minister of Finance, whatever he says becomes official position from the ministry, then we can hold him or her, we can hold him accountable to what he says. So I think that people should just remain calm. If you want clarity on this matter, look, Honorable Atuforsen, if he goes to the Speaker today, when Parliament reconvenes, he goes to Speaker today to put an urgent question to the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance will come to Parliament, and he's been on to Parliament to answer so many questions. So I think that the numbers that can be cured by a simple question to the Speaker, to the Finance Minister. But as to special audit and all these things, I think we should not stampede our institutions of state. Let them work. Let's keep our eye on it. They will come to Parliament. Let's follow. Even the Public Accounts Committee, it work on this Auditor General's work. And that is how it's been done all this while.
Right. Now let's use some political analysis. And Economics Intelligence Unit, EIU, has tipped the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, as the party with a higher probability to secure victory in the next general elections. However, the agency expects the NDC to try to revitalize its prospects with a fresh candidate other than the former President John Dramani Mahama. There's more in the following reports.
According to the London-based analyst, the assessment shows that the opposition party will have to part ways with its leader, 2020 flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. The former president has led the NDC into two unsuccessful election campaigns in 2016 and 2020. As President KWARU concludes his final term in 2024, the opposition is expected to face off with whoever the governing New Patriotic Party NPP will put forward as its new leader. In the wake of numerous challenges plaguing the government, including unemployment, an economic downturn, and corruption among others, EIU believes these developments will fuel citizen sentiments against the ruling New Patriotic Party administration. They believe the situation will tilt the balance in the NDC's favor, but from their findings, the International Economic and Political Research Consultancy Group indicated that John Dramani Mahama is reportedly considering running again. In their latest report, the agency expects the NDC to try to revitalize its prospects with a fresh candidate. EIU has, in the past, rightly predicted correctly the outcomes of Ghana's elections in 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020.
So we'll stay a little longer on this story. An aide of the former President John Dramani Mahama, Joyce Baumutari, has joined us via phone for some reactions to this development. Joyce Baum, thank you for your time and you're welcome to Newsbeat. If I may ask first, have you seen the reports, the EIU reports?
Yes, I have seen it and I've seen snippets from the report.
And may you confirm if the former president has also seen it?
I'm sure he has. It's been in the news for quite some time, so definitely he has seen it.
You haven't had any chance to discuss it with him, maybe likely not into details, but you haven't mentioned it, neither has he called you on it?
No, please, no, not today. I'm expecting him in the office in a few minutes, so I'm sure when he comes here, we just might have a conversation about it.
Okay. So how did your office receive the reports that just came out that former President Mahama should be, swapped with a fresh candidate?
Well, thank you very much, Annie. A very good afternoon to you and good afternoon to all your listeners. And pretty much like everybody else, we actually received the news through various media portals and platforms such as yours. And yes, I believe that this morning, quite a number of the newspaper review stations have actually had cause to discuss the subject. I have no doubt in my mind that this is just an attempt by the EIU, as they have done over the years, to give us a baseline report. It is actually an attempt by them to put a balanced face to what I would consider as basically hedging, because it has actually become very obvious that considering the rather abysmal performance of the MPP under President Akufo-Addo, naturally a change in government come 2024 is to be expected. And considering we have a two-way street, we all know that the party in waiting to assume the reins of government is certainly the National Democratic Congress. Indeed, for them to mention the name of former President John Dramani Mahama is actually, for me, a totally speculative subject, because indeed this is a matter that actually pertains to the NDC party in terms of its internal arrangements. And I believe that currently we are ongoing with our internal party organization and reorganization. And yes, certainly there will be a contest. And I have no doubt in my mind, and I do expect President John Dramani Mahama to contest, and I do expect him, of course, to win the election come 2024. So
I was saying earlier that the EIU is suggesting that he should be swapped, even though the party has not, selected his flag bearer yet. But the signs are clear that he seemed to be in the lead in various polls conducted by other political analysts and media houses. However, is it pointing to him to be the flag bearer of the party?
Well, as I indicated, I believe that there is no doubt to my mind presently that President Mahama is actually poised to once more lead the NDC as its flag bearer in the run-up to the 2024 elections. And as I said earlier, any attempt by the EIU to broach the subject will purely be regarded as speculative under the circumstances and currently, because indeed we have not, as you well know, gone to Congress, and certainly no such election of a flag bearer has taken place. So I'll just leave that for the speculation that it is, for the hedging that it is, for the attempt to broach a subject and a conversation that I believe that we are yet to get to. But certainly, we are all convinced now that indeed this government has performed abysmally on all of the key indicators. The current hardship in the economy is something to go by. The attempt also, and I'm sure that this weekend we all woke up to news about matters to do with a certain female who has had some dalliances with the president, and the conversations around the use of national security and security apparatus to attempt to gag and prevent the said individual from making certain matters to do with an affair or fling with His Excellency the President known to the public. So yes, this morning, this may have been a very good respite from that rather salacious conversation currently taking place in various media houses and, of course, on social media. So, yes, I have no doubt. And, of course, as an aide to President Mahama, I would be hopeful and hoping that he will actually be putting himself up to contest once more. Remember, Adi, that in most, in many schools of thought, the NDC actually did very, very well in the 2020 election. Indeed, as you well know, we currently have literally same numbers as the ruling government. It tells you that we have actually worked very, very hard since our loss in 2016. We also do know that President Mahama performed very, very well in 2020, and certainly I look forward to him forming the next government.
Right, if you could hold the line there. Political marketing strategist Kobe Mensah, who is also a lecturer, has joined us via phone, I'm told. Okay, he's via Zoom. Mr. Kobe Mensah, thank you for your time. You're welcome to News Beat. So, have you also read the EIU reports, and what's your first reaction to it?
Annie, thanks for having me, and it's been a while. I always see you on TV, and hello to Miss
Joyce Bauer
Mutari. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Well, Annie, yes, I've actually read the report. Obviously, I saw a news article, and then later on, I had the report and read it. And my reaction was that I think they were a little bit disingenuous in the way the report was written. You can't actually tell whether it was an opinion or a research finding, and it's not clear in their write-up. I can only say that it was an opinion because you couldn't use the word try to refresh as a finding. If it was a finding, you have to be categorical in your finding to say that, yes, per your research, it indicates that they have to change the candidate. But if you say that they should try, that doesn't actually sound like a research finding. So I think that it was inappropriate if, how they actually put it, if the intention was to speculate a particular conversation under the guise of a research, I think that is inappropriate. And I think that we should be mindful of the way we actually analyze stuff.
I mean, how inappropriate was it? This is an institution that has been on Ghana's politics for years, 2008, 2016, 2020, and almost all its predictions actually happened. Is it that our results of the elections was dependent on the predictions or their research actually are based on the fundamentals on the ground?
I think that for people who have actually followed the Ghanaian elections or Ghanaian political landscape, you could almost tell, how balances of power actually tilt from one side to the other. But of course, you can be predicting the peculiarities when you want very detailed, insightful. You want to look at certain peculiarities for you to talk about. But if it's about the general notion of how the election will go, I mean, if you have followed it, you would actually can tell almost that, yes, in 2024, there's likely to be a change in power. But of course, you couldn't actually take it for granted as well. As I always say, our political system has been very volatile these days. Of course, it's very, very competitive. And so you couldn't actually hold your neck and say, exactly, this is how it's going to be. But of course, within the general trend, you can actually predict that. Now, the reason why I was actually disappointed with the report is because of certain basis. I mean, you, as in EIU, in July 2020, sounded that the baseline report suggests NPP victory, which of course, NPP went ahead to win. But the basis of saying that on a strong economic background, etc., and then this current, report also, you're talking about sluggish or slow developments, in governance, etc., without necessarily linking it to whether it is within this period that the deterioration has happened or has happened over the period. That is disingenuous. I think that the clarity is not there. And for me, if the clarity is in there, then it points to one thing: someone trying to actually use their opinion as the popular opinion of the people. And that is very disingenuous. I mean, if it's a research finding, you have to say so. If it is not, you have to say so. Again, in terms of the compelling nature of the research or the report, if I should put it, they assume that to win election is dependent on a candidate. That is not true. I mean, for a party to win election, at least sits on three factors. You're talking about the candidate's own strength. You're talking about the strength of the party's preparedness. Don't forget, even in recent times, vice candidate selections have been crucial to parties' elections or to parties' successes. And then, of course, you're talking about your programs, which are captured in your manifestos. At least these elements go on to actually define whether a party would win elections or not. And so when you put it before the electorate in a research, then you could come to some level of appreciation whether indeed a party stands a chance or not. But for you to zero in on a candidate and use that to determine a party's successes, I think that is very, very limited.
All right, finally, before I let you go, you know, sometimes when researches are conducted, sometimes opinions of the public or the sample size you're conducting the research with also matters, considering how, you know, independent-minded persons have also suggested that, well, President Mahama should exit while the applauds are louder. Not so. So maybe the research looked around that and thought that, well, maybe you should exit and allow for a fresh candidate, which makes your prospects more brighter.
No, you're right. The methodology would actually talk about the robustness of the findings. If the methodology in terms of how the sampling was gone about or how the sampling frame was actually arrived at, and then of course so many other factors could actually determine that, yes. But of course they didn't actually mention that. And again, we know that it's a popular opinion, you know, that some people, a section of Ghanaians think that, you know, former President Mahama must be retained. There are other people who also argue strongly that a fresh candidate would be good for the NDC. These opinions are in the public. They are actually public. They are in the public domain. They're not anything that you could say that the research had actually found out. Of course, if the research has found out, then you must want to tell us, you know, the magnitude of that particular position. That will be an insight. So, for example, you could say that perhaps almost 90% want a change or a retention of the former president as the lead of the NDC. That could be an insight. But just speculating that some people want fresh and so the party should try as much to bring a fresh candidate, that is ridiculous, actually.
Right. Thank you. Political marketing strategist Kobe Mensah there, and also a lecturer. Let me finalize with Joyce Bauer. Joyce, are you satisfied with how Kobe Mensah analyzes this report?
Well, Annie, I would just say one thing, that we are focused. We are focused on delivering on the NDC's mandate. We are focused on convincing Ghanaians that the NDC is a better alternative. We are also focused largely on working and priming our preferred choice as flag bearer, and that is John Dramani Mahama. So basically, I think that sometimes maybe we hide a bit under the cloak of neutrality, and then we make some of these comments.
But a quick one. Yeah. Has it ever come to the former president that people were suggesting that he should exit, and as his aide, how did he respond or react to that?
But Annie, I would rather not speculate on this matter, because as you well know, it's a democratic process, and even in 2020, there were other individuals who contested President John Dramani Mahama. Indeed, he won by a resounding majority to lead the party. I'm sure pretty much come up in the next few months, there will be the same contest. And of course, whoever is willing and ready is up and against to the task is free to join him. So I have no doubt in my mind that we are primed, we are focused. The NDC is currently working on restructuring its branches, and of course, we'll be going for our internal elections. Whatever it is that we need to do right now to make sure that we win the election come 2024 is actually the focus of the National Democratic Congress. And we will not be waylaid or swayed by any of these conversations and research and all the hedging and speculation that is currently ongoing. I think that it is welcome. It is a good perspective. They have been doing this for quite some time. It is not cast in stone. And yes, we have many other research groups that come up with all sorts of research findings. So certainly we'll be taking a cue. We'll continue to work hard and remain focused. I believe that we are actually on course, and I have no doubt that there will be no distractions. And certainly, considering the rather poor showing of the New Patriotic Party, I have no doubt that Ghanaians are actually waiting for the party to take up the mantle of leadership
Right.
for a better Ghana and improved conditions of living.
Right. Josba Mutari, Esquire, and also aide to former President John Dramani Mahama. Thank you for your time here on Newsbeat. You're still watching the news here on Metro TV. Let's take a breather. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Newsbeat on Metro TV with me, Annie Fwampofo. Now, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, has today, April 19, 2022, opened nominations for interested party members to pick up forms to contest for executive positions in the party at the constituency level. Now, here is a lineup of events as announced by the party's General Secretary, John Bwedu, in previous press conference.
The positions to be contested from April 28th to May 2nd, 2022 are the constituency chairperson, the first constituency vice chairperson, the second constituency vice chairperson, the constituency secretary, the constituency assistant secretary, the constituency treasurer, the constituency organizer, the constituency women organizer, the constituency youth organizer, and the constituency Nasara coordinator. John Bwedu is the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party.
The National Executive Committee decided that the constituency elections will be held between Thursday 28th of April to Monday 2nd of May. In fact, nominations will be open and closed between 19th and 20th of April. Vetting of prospective aspirants will be held on 21st to 22nd of April 2022. The Electoral Commission is going to supervise the elections. The nomination forms, just as we did during the election of the electoral area coordinators, in addition to the hard copy, we uploaded the nomination form. Between now and tomorrow, we'll be uploading it on our website till the time we open the nomination. You pay your nomination fee, which is 500 for the chairperson position, and all other positions attract 200 Ghana cedis at the point of filing for nomination.
Ahead of the elections, the Director of Research and Elections of the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nimakun, has appealed to all members of the party who have sought injunctions at various polling stations and electoral coordinators election to withdraw the lawsuits and resort to the party's Alternative Dispute Resolution Committee, chaired by Cecilia Abnadapa, for redress. He appealed to all aspirants for constituency positions to pursue all their concerns through the party's structures. Evans Nimakun expressed hope that the elections would come off successfully and appealed to all members of the party's elections committee to discharge their duties based on the party's rules and guidelines outlined by the National Council.
Now to some other stories. According to the Executive Director of Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building, Adib Sani, the silence of the police on recent attacks on Fulanis are a thing to worry about. Now, thus poses threats to the nation's security.
Mostly violence perpetrated against Fulanis is seen as violence against foreigners. And so the seriousness you would expect the police to give it is not usually the case. We've had the Northern Regional Minister go to Zakoli. He appealed to the Fulanis that justice would be served. But the problem is, in the past, similar things were said, but it amounted to nothing. But currently, I'm not aware of any intention on the part of any Fulani group, whether it's in the northern part of the country or in the south, to stage any attacks, but certainly we cannot afford to be complacent, and we need to address the issues so we don't get to that stage. There are Fulanis all over the subcontinent and even beyond. So if they feel their comrades in Ghana are in distress, the possibility of them coming in to help them is quite high. We should also know that a lot of these terrorist groups operating in Mali, Burkina Faso, and other parts of the sub-region, including Chad, Niger, and even Nigeria, a lot of them are of Fulani extraction, and some of them is based on historical antecedents, especially the one in Mali is based on long-standing grievances on the part of particularly the Azawats and other Arab Bedouin tribes in that area who feel marginalized. The same is applied. The same applies to the Fulanis in Burkina Faso. So the possibility that some of them might be disenchanted to the extent that they become so frustrated and perhaps belligerent is very high, and this can pose a threat to the security of the state, particularly the issue of terrorism. We do know for a fact that we are a country that is fairly peaceful in a rather volatile sub-region. Terrorists have attacked almost every country in West Africa, but Ghana remains one of the few countries that has not been touched. But let's not forget that in a report submitted to the UN Security Council in February, indicated that there's a terrorist warehouse in Ghana, in Benin, and in Togo.
Well, I don't know how you spent your Easter, but Easter celebrations held at KWARU in the Eastern region has come to an end amidst lots of excitement and positive feedback from revelers. The week-long festival organized by the Ghana Tourism Authority returned to KWARU after a 2-year absence due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this afternoon, we want to assess how the festival went. And joining us in the studio to help us with understanding what happened is the Deputy Head of Corporate Affairs of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Kofi Atta-Kakra. Kosi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You've had fun. Are you tired?
We're already tired.
You're already tired. You look fresh, actually. I know KWARU can be a little cold sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. It's a relaxation.
It's a relaxation
point, yeah,
oh.
Very well. So we've had lots of relaxation.
Oh.
Yes.
So nothing
yes.
got you tired, I guess. You are not tired. Earlier, he said he was tired. So how will you rate this year's celebration? From my angle, I saw a lot of government official activities.
Absolutely.
You know, characterizing the celebration. What happened there?
Good. What happens is that apart from the paragliding festival and families coming together and all that, you have various government agencies also doing a lot of activities there. So KWARU obviously has become an Easter destination where even our diasporans, people of African descent, also do well to troop in there anytime we have these celebrations. It was a wonderful experience to be in KWARU after a 2-year break, like you mentioned. And the Ghana Tourism Authority packaged the paragliding festival after a 2-year break. And likelihood is that we had lots of people registering to partake in the paragliding.
Do you think the break revived or increased the euphoria?
Yes, because people were looking for opportunity to experience the paragliding again.
Right.
Because after 2 years break, they're hungry. So they need more of the recreational stuff. So with us packaging this year, the package was a bit different because we had lots of activities, musical activities, pool parties, fun games, all these went on. And then there was this book launch also, which of course also went on. Of course, we had this KWARU Easter Guide also, which was launched there. The KWARU Guide also gives you experiences within KWARU, where you can go to, where you can eat, where accommodation and all that. So it's a one-stop shop where once you pick it, you know exactly what to experience in KWARU.
So this is a book that was launched?
Yes, this was the book that was,
okay.
yeah, one book. And then there was also a KWARU book that was launched, bringing out the history of KWARU and all that.
Oh, I see Denta
there. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She's a member of our board, actually.
Yes, I know that. I know that. Okay, so how is this going to serve as a, support to improve whatever we're building in KWARU?
Yes. What we've done is that as part of the paragliding festival, what we're doing is that we're bringing about this domestic tourism campaign, Experience Ghana, Share Ghana. It is a campaign that is going a long way to improve our domestic setting. Right. You look at the pilots that came, we had some from Peru, some from USA, some from Germany, some from Switzerland. But fortunately enough, we had one Guinean. He used to be a solo pilot. If we say a solo pilot flies alone, but the tandem pilot flies with somebody behind. So Jonathan is now a tandem pilot, so he can fly people. And as mentioned by our Chief Executive, Mr. Kwesi Agyeman, is that we are looking at improving our local content in terms of the pilots, so we could have more Ghanaians to be able to fly as pilots, so that we would not depend on the white people for our flying regimes and all that. So
I just want viewers to, watch out for Good Evening Ghana. We'll have more of these details on the program tonight, actually, so that you can explain how much does it cost a person to be in KWARU?
Yes, so
I mean, it's becoming a hot cake.
Yes, we are in partnership with.
Okay, so first let's start with the flying.
Yes.
If you want to fly,
yes.
How much will it cost you?
It cost this time around. It costed 550 Ghana
per person.
Per person.
550.
Yes.
Ghana,
and if you compare that to other countries,
right.
Other European and African countries, ours is lower. Yes, others charge about.
What percentage lower?
Oh, others charge about $200, $150 and above, but ours is very low. If you compare,
maybe it's because you're charging in dollars. We don't want to charge it. I hope it's not going to get to a point where you are going to dollarize it.
No, we are not. The authority itself has issued communique to our private sector, the tour operators, the hotels, tour guides, not to charge in dollars, as brought up by the Bank of Ghana. So we are very mindful of that.
Is there anything like sightseeing? Because in your book, I see sightseeing.
There are a lot of sightseeing. There are so many caves. Yeah, Metallics, the Stone Age. There are so many. So
they are from River.
Exactly.
Or
exactly. Yeah, all those places.
What's that?
Exactly. So that is where the tour operators come in.
Yeah.
We have our private sector,
Mystical
the tour operators,
cave.
the tour guides, the hotels association. They all come in and then package tours. So anybody who, most of the people that came to KWARU obviously are involved in one way or the other with the tour operators, and then making sure that the right things are put in the right perspective.
What are you spending, or how are you managing the cost of bringing foreign pilots?
Good. That is where the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Honorable Dr. Ibrahim Awar Mohammed, and our Chief Executive has indicated that due to that cost, we are trying as much as possible to, in the near future, look at bringing the local content, getting the local Ghanaians to be able to fly.
Yeah, because I know about this. I think years ago I had the opportunity to be there, and the same thing was being talked about, that, we're training locals, we're training, but still now, we still haven't trained locals.
It's quite expensive in training, so in getting them on board and training them. So it takes a while. That is how come we've finished with Jonathan. He's now a tandem pilot. So we are looking at moving beyond and then getting more of them involved.
Right. Okay, like I said, we'll do more on Good Evening Ghana today as far as this tourism activities is concerned. And of course, we'll take a look at the KWARU in perspective, or what happened this year. I think it was exceptional, even though I was not there.
Yes, it was.
It was like KWARU was with me.
Exactly. It was very exceptional, especially when the minister had indicated that we are looking at raking in $2.3 billion as annually. Each year we're expecting to rake in that amount of money into the economy. Like we did with the Beyond Year of Return in 2019, we pumped in about $3.3 billion.
And how much did you make in return? You pumped 3.3?
No, we got $3.3 billion.
That's the revenue we generated.
That's the revenue we generated, yes.
This year?
No, last 2019.
3.3 billion.
Yes, dollars.
I know billion dollars.
Yes.
I know we've done a projection for this year. How much are we expecting?
This year we're expecting $2.3 billion.
Why 2.3 billion?
Yes. Moving from the hills of COVID restrictions, obviously we are projecting that we may not hit the target of the Year of Return, because the Year of Return was a major marketing tool and campaign that really brought in our diaspora and said, gradually the world is waking up to the global community. So it would take a bit of a time for us to be able to pass through the 3.3 billion that we had in 2019. So this year, the minister has declared that we are looking at raking in about $2.3 billion into the economy.
We'll be monitoring your quarters. So Ghana Tourism Authority, that the Deputy Head of Corporate Affairs, Kofi Kakra-Kosi, with me this afternoon. Thank you for making time.
Thank you very much.
You're also watching Newsbeat here on Metro TV. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro TV. Time for business. And Winston Taki is standing by. Winston, do you have your jollof available?
It's very ready with good meat indeed.
Right, Winston.
All right, it's time to bring your business right after this. Data from the Bank of Ghana has revealed that the nation's economic growth momentum is expected to be moderate in the first half of 2022 due to the rising cost of inputs triggered by the upward adjustment in petroleum prices. Growth for 2022 is projected to be moderated according to the forecast from the IMF World Economic Outlook for January 2022. Increased geopolitical tensions and impositions of sanctions on Russia due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict could have dire consequences on global oil and gas prices. On the domestic front, growth momentum is expected to moderate in the first half of 2022 due to the rising input cost triggered by the upward adjustment in petroleum prices. Also, the latest Bank of Ghana service result indicated softened consumer and business confidence, which may affect private sector production plans and investment. This notwithstanding, the gradual rebound in private sector credit will continue to drive the growth process in the near term. Fiscal policy implementation has come under strain, reflecting embedded rigidities in the fiscal framework, which will require extensive structural reforms to free fiscal space and restore both fiscal and debt sustainability. In particular, revenue performance has been slow to align with projections, while expenditure remains rigid downwards despite the strong effort to cut expenditure by 20% as announced by the government. These developments have resulted in financing constraints which would have to be swiftly resolved to achieve the announced fiscal consolidation. Now let's talk energy. Research analyst with the Institute for Energy Security, Fritz Moses, has projected a fuel price stability in the medium term amongst other oil marketing companies as a result of increasing supply on the international market.
We're looking at two variables, mainly the international market and then also of course, the CD, the rate against the US dollar. Fortunately for us, in the last pricing window, that's the first pricing window of April, we saw some drop in prices on the international market where Brent fell by some 3%, diesel fell by some 3% also. LPG prices also went down by some 2.4%, and then gasoline, that petrol also went down by some 1.27%. And so we're expecting that these gains made on the international market would certainly reflect on the local market. But unfortunately, the second variable that influences price, that's the CD exchange rate against the US dollar. Didn't fare well. I mean, of course, beginning this year, we've seen a consistent depreciation of the CD. That hasn't accounted for the drop in prices that we have seen recently on the international market. And so, even though prices fall on the international markets for the various commodities, petrol, diesel, LPG, we are seeing prices stabilizing in Ghana because our cedi failed to make gains against the dollar or even stabilize against the dollar, but rather depreciated by some 1.44%, like stated earlier. And so, we expect that the majority of the OMCs would maintain their prices at the pumps to, of course, make up for the cost that would have to be made from the depletion of the cedi.
Okay.
But then again, of course, there are other OMCs that may want to reduce their prices.
All right, that will be all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. Phil John Quarty is standing by with sports. Phil?
Well, thank you very much, Winston, and certainly I'm sure you enjoyed the Easter. Up next, we'll bring you sports. let's focus on table tennis because the third edition of the National Mixed Doubles Championship has taken place here in Accra. The 7th Great Princess Academy School Hall was the venue for the third National Mixed Doubles Table Tennis Championship. The event was put together by the Veteran Table Tennis Association of Ghana with support from Street Sense organization. Over 40 players consisting of the young, active and lawyer Christopher King explains further in an interview with Metro Sports.
This tournament is one, in fact, this is the 3rd edition, and we do that to bring about what we call integration between both the ages as well as the sexes. You would note from observation that the matches were played coupled male and female, and you could also see that the matrix involves the older ones and the younger ones. But we're really trying to create some type of symbiosis, a type of synergy that takes the experience of the old and then the vibrance of the young.
I think as sportsmen and sportswomen too, they engage in a lot of training, and that means, you know, hiking or walking along, jogging along the road. So we want to take advantage of it and tell them that sportsmen, they are even the best role models.
Well, that's it for your media sports. My name is Phil John Quartet. Desi is standing by for the latest in showbiz. Desi?
Hello, Phil. Up next is entertainment news. I am Desmond Okreko, dancing down in entertainment. The Vodafone Ghana Music Awards Experience Concert, the first of it, was held yesterday at Koforidua in the Eastern Region. There were performances from Kofi Kinata, Fameye, Amrado Samini, and others. Here are some highlights.
Money gang. See my hands. Rubber bands. Hitting on the brother and I want to rain.
And that's it for entertainment. I need to stand by for the rest of the bulletin.
You have to give us a report on Winston Taki's jollof very soon.
Definitely do that.
Right. Thank you so much. So, well, let's now do some international stories. And on the international front, a week after the torrential rains began, the South African National Defence Force has stated that it has been instructed to activate 10,000 troops for tasks including mop-up work and transporting aid outside the town of Umbumbulu, about 28 miles southwest of Durban. Community members accompanied police officers and sniffer dogs to scur a river for a missing lady who had been swept away. Now, she was coming home from work accompanied by her son when they both got washed away by the floods, according to the local officials. Well, this is Metro TV, and that's where time will allow us for Newsbeat. It came to you live from the Akua Boahima studio. I am Ania Fompofu. We're back with some more stories at 4 p.m. and at 7 with News Night. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Thanks for watching.